This just arrived today. This is the Kobo Elipsa. I just made the top 5 e-ink tablets you could buy in 2022, and this wasn't featured on it, but that's because I hadn't tried it yet. So thank you very much to Kobo for sending this out for review. I'm really excited to give this a go. This is the Kobo Elipsa pack, and you get the sleep cover and you get the Kobo stylus, and the Kobo stylus is actually working with other Kobo devices now as well. This rather large pack has not just a device in it, but also the stylus and the sleep cover. This is a 10.3 ink screen. It's not just a reader, but it is also a tablet that you can make notes on as well. It's got a glow light, and it's a Kobo. Kobo is one of the larger, more recognized e-reader brands. And so it's really interesting to us who are reviewing these from largely unknown brands otherwise, all these e-ink tablet products that are really good. This is one of the first ones from one of the traditionally the bigger players in the e-ink market. So let's go ahead and get all this unboxed as well. This is the sleep cover, which I guess does what it says on the tin, which is put your device to sleep when you close it. I do also like all the different ways that you can use this. It looks really good that you can actually have this as a propped up kind of writing surface. That's really cool. I will say that what I've seen so far of the reviews of this is kind of large and not a very sleek design, although I'm sure it's a pretty functional design. So we'll see how that goes. It's an interesting one. The stylus itself, I think it's actually a Kobo design. I think they've actually designed their own stylus rather than just going with the Wacom, which most people are now. And that was an interesting choice to design their own one, because even the Sony that had their own proprietary stylus, they've decided in the latest one to go for just a Wacom one. And one reason for that is because Wacom pens don't require charging. This does require a quadruple A battery for it to work. So I'm gonna have to fish one of those out, unless they have indeed included one somewhere in the box. Yes, they have, so that's kind. But there's no recharge circuit in the stylus either, which again is a bit of a funny design. I think if you're going to design a stylus that needs battery power these days, I think you better go for one which will actually charge itself either by clipping to the side or really quickly by plugging into the device. One that you can actually charge quickly without having to get into a situation where you're going to run out of battery power and not necessarily have a quadruple A battery with you. However, that being said, there are 2 buttons, so let's see how they're used, because I do miss not having buttons on my other devices where I really did enjoy them with the QuickLogic Paper, for instance. It's a really nice stylus though. They've taken their time to design something that feels really nice in the hand. It feels like a proper pen. Let's get the real deal open then. You could buy this on its own, or you could buy this with just the stylus. All of these things are options. Interesting, they've placed the kind of grip space on the right hand side rather than the left, which if you're going to write with, you might prefer that, but let's see. The entire reason I've got a microphone on this top down camera. Cool, a little bit of a moment of truth really, which is how the stylus feels on the surface. Yeah, feels good. Lots of languages, which is really cool. Loads of people have been asking me on my reviews for other devices, what languages can they support, so it's nice to see them. So many different languages supported straight out of the box. Obviously there's a quick start guide, a USB-C cable. Wow, you can see ghosting on there really quite clearly. That's quite surprising. That's all connected, so let's carry on through the setup. Yep, that's the time, that's the date, cool. The keyboard is absolutely responsive enough. It's fine. Seems like you shouldn't have to say that in 2022, but some devices are not responsive enough. One of the main advantages is going to be the size of the Kobo catalog. And if you're a Kobo user already and you're looking for an e-ink tablet, this might be the choice for you. This is obviously the reason to buy this particular Kobo, is taking notes on your books and in PDFs. And then also you have the built-in notebooks features, which of course you'd expect. Be very interesting to see how good the quick link is. Overdrive is their kind of free lending library. It's useful. Web articles, charges over USB-C. So thanks very much to Kobo for sending this out. Whenever I get a product for review, I'll always aim to give you a first impressions video like this one, and I'll just have a really quick look over it and tell you what I think about this device. First impressions is looking good, but I'll always aim to use it for several weeks in my professional life before I give you my actual review and my actual thoughts on it. Because I think that I owe you that. That's the reason to watch my reviews over many other people's. I am a working professional, I'm a teacher, and I really believe in these things, not just for being a great reader or being great for students, or just to replace a notebook in your daily life. I really see them as exceptional tools for the professional. So I really want to try this out at work. And there's some real features for me that are going to make this a really excellent tool. Especially in this one, I'm looking forward to testing the handwriting recognition. And I know that it does have the ability to recognize maths. And for me as a physics teacher, for it to recognize equations and things would be really very useful. You have these two choices, a basic notebook or an advanced notebook, which allows you to convert handwriting, diagrams, and equations. So I'm going to give that a go. Just give it a double tap, scribble to delete words. I'm going to try out its cover as well. Oh, I see it also has automatic rotate, which not a lot of devices bother to add. Now this looks good. Okay, I can really see this actually, guys. I really like this setup straight away. Now that is not a neatly written piece of writing. So let's see if it gets it. Yeah, perfect. Let's see just how scruffy we can be. If it gets that, I'll be well impressed. It's quick too, not bad. It's gone for snuffy. So how can I replace that then? Okay, cool, that worked. Yes, that's really good. That is one of the best handwriting recognitions I've used. That's exactly what I wanted to write, and it didn't take me long. I was really testing that out as being the scruffiest handwriting that I would do on a day-to-day basis. It's also worth saying at this point that yes, the handwriting feel is good. This whole setup is pretty impressive, really. So I want to test out the equations mode from the menu. Insert maths equation, something I might do reasonably regularly. Let's write out Coulomb's law. Close. Yes, good. Okay, that's awesome. That's really good. So it's going to be really interesting for me going forward to use this in my work because, well, that is something that I could really use. I'm really impressed so far. Now, it's not just that it can do as a professional, having something that you can create documents just like that with the pen could be really useful for anyone. It's going to be interesting for me to see, however, how does that translate? I mean, how can I export this? Can I send it to myself? Is it only that way? Can I export it to anything apart from Dropbox? Okay, so you can access this file in the Rakuten Kobo folder of your Dropbox account. So that's going to be an interesting one there. I'm not sure whether Dropbox still have a free account. Perhaps you can tell me, but I think that's worth me actually giving it a go. I'm impressed so far. I'll also be very impressed and I'll be testing out the other forms of notebooks and I'll be really interested to have a little look through the library and see what other features this can do. So far, guys and girls, I'm really quite impressed by this. Some people love this, Sudoku, Solitaire, and what other things can we connect to it via Bluetooth. So that's my first impressions. First time I've had this out of the box. I'm really pleased and impressed so far. Let me know if you've got any comments and stay tuned for a full review and of course, comparisons to other devices will be on my channel soon. Well, let's just talk about this after my first few days of using the Elipsa. I'm really impressed. I've been playing about with a few settings to get used to it and yeah, it's really meeting my expectations. Now that's to say that when I started using it in the way that I would normally use an ink tablet at work, which is to have a PDF of my fortnight and I annotate over the top of that everything I've got to do in my day. Okay, that is the main use that I use for note-taking e-readers. And the PDF functionality isn't that great because you don't have a choice of pen. You've got a very, very simple and kind of clunky note-taking UI. However, I wanted to use it so much that I thought I'm going to get over that. And it hasn't been an issue, it works just fine. But the real beauty of this device is definitely going to be those advanced notebooks. And I can now confirm that the only way you can get things on and off the device is via Dropbox. However, there is still a free account for I think 2 gigabytes of Dropbox storage, which will be plenty, I'm sure, for these notebooks. And importantly, the advanced notebook exports into a Word file that is really, really usable, including that you can edit the flowcharts. You can edit the drawings, you can edit the freeform sections, and you can edit the equations that you've written in Word afterwards. They come through as fully editable Word equations. Now that's excellent, and that is going to make it a really excellent device for me, because let's say I want to make a learning resource where I actually write in some equations and do some maths. I can actually do that line by line here with a pen, which is incredibly natural to me as a physics teacher, and then just export that as a Word document and use that in all of my resources across the school. Fantastic. So far I'm really enjoying using it, and I'll be looking forward to giving you my conclusions after about 2 weeks and my full review of the Kobo Elipsa. Thanks very much for watching Gorilla Physics, and thanks once again to Kobo for sending that out for a review.